Good evening, I'm Ian Roth. We begin tonight with breaking news out of Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a military operation in the country. Some reports are saying explosions have been heard in the capital. Putin also warned other countries that any attempt to interfere with the Russian action will lead to consequences they have never seen. Now to a story 5 News has been bringing you for nearly a year. After days of discussion, a jury found a local sheriff's deputy not guilty of using excessive force. Moorfield's Alan Burkett caught this beast, which broke the Division of Natural Resources official weight record at 37.5 pounds. Top story, WVU basketball coach Bob Huggins in the hot seat tonight after audio emerged of him using a homophobic slur. Great news tonight for those of you that have been detoured around Pike Street in Clarksburg over the past few weeks. That road is opening back up tomorrow morning. The city posted this picture to their Facebook this afternoon showing brand new asphalt going down the hill towards Notre Dame High School. Following the Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade, people have taken to the streets protesting across the country.
If you have treats.
If you have treats, it's all over. And
Yes.
She sits nice. She is an absolute TV star so far. Oh, yeah, there you go. There you are on TV. And after almost 30 years in the West Virginia legislature, Senator Mike Caputo has decided not to seek another term. In a letter to the Board of Governors, American Federation of Teachers President Randy Weingarten said, quote, "These cuts are draconian and catastrophic and do not simply jeopardize the institution's continued standing as an R1 university." Good evening, I'm Ian Roth. We have more now on the breaking news we first brought you at 5 o'clock. WVU basketball coach Bob Huggins has now apologized publicly for using a homophobic slur during a radio interview. Biden announced the sanctions while Ukraine's government reported mounting casualties from attacks by Russian forces. And one of those attacks on the Chernobyl power plant. The Ukrainian ambassador to the U.S. told reporters the Ukrainian National Guard was protecting the plant. Well, just in tonight, families whose young students had planned to go to Norwood Elementary this year will have another option for their education. When the elementary school was forced to shut down, roughly 270 students were left without a place to go. But today, the Hope Scholarship Board approved changes to the program to allow those students to apply for the scholarship and go to private school. Of course, you can expect more on this as it unfolds. We have yet to hear from his players, current or former, or WVU Athletic Director Ren Baker. Xavier and the University of Cincinnati both declined to comment. And of course, the big question is still out there. Will Coach Huggins still have a job with WVU when next season rolls around? We're working around the clock to get you the latest, and you can stick with us for all of those updates. Good evening, everyone. Ian Roth here at the 5 Live desk on Facebook Live. Happy Tuesday, everyone. No Chief Meteorologist Kevin Corvo with us just yet. As usual, he'll be here for our evening broadcasts at 5, 5:30, and 6 to break down what we're talking about this evening. And that is those heavy rainstorms that blew through our area in the early morning hours and then just wrapping up in the last couple of hours. Whenever we come on here, we always want to give you good news. Unfortunately, today we do not have that good news to give to you. What we know right now is that there's a large police presence outside this funeral home in Nutter Fort at a reported shooting. Details are extremely limited right now. Whenever we come on the air with you with breaking news, we can only give you what we know officially, and we don't know a whole lot officially, but I am going to walk you through what we do know so far. This all happened around 10:45 this morning, but that helicopter that you just saw in that shot didn't land until about 12:30, so this was an extensive period of time where there was officers and a suspect duking it out there on I-79. Officers did say that an Upshur County deputy was shot while he was on the scene. We do not know the exact condition of that deputy right now, but officials do tell us he's going to be okay. 6 o'clock. If you didn't catch me before, or this is the first time you're hearing about it, we are following a police chase that's turned into a manhunt in Marion County around East Fairmont High School. Actually, just right now, many of you know Mr. Alan Dye. He just came up before we went live, and I got 3 confirmed finals for you that we can read right now. Now, we're going to go over to the website, our website, of course, WDTV.com. It's right here. You can click right on the top of the home screen, and it'll take you right to where we have all of our results coming in. You can follow along live here at home. Obviously, here's the big one, U.S. House District 2, Alex Mooney kind of running away with this one right now. But you can see that intersection almost flooded over in these videos. You can see some really heavy flowing of water in some of these culverts, cars driving right through some of these images. And this is deep water. Look how deep that is on the tire there.
To me, I wouldn't want to be raised anywhere else.
This is Benjamin Portero, a veteran of the Battle of the Bulge, a survivor of Nazi imprisonment, a devout family man, and a proud West Virginian. Today, he turns 100 years old and shares his incredible story with WDTV.
Back then, things was tough. You didn't have a whole bunch of toys. We made our own, like stilts and pole vaults and hang a rope up on a tree to swing and set traps.
It wasn't before long into his young adult life when the war broke out, and after fighting through France, Benjamin found himself in the middle of one of the deadliest attacks of the war, the Battle of the Bulge.
We ran out of ammunition and some of our buddies was killed. I had a wound in my leg, and they come in there and just pointing their guns at our belly, and they lined us up. They were going to, do away with us.
After he was captured, he came face to face with the atrocities of being a prisoner of the Nazis.
We stood around picking lice off each other. We didn't have nothing to eat but some kind of soup. And I was on a burial detail. We were burying our guys every 2 or 3 weeks, every 2 or 3 days.
He soon realized that in order to survive, he would have to escape and not leave his friends behind.
Some boy was walking alongside. I never knew him before, but we started talking. And I told him, I said, I'd rather get shot in the back, running away than to laying down and get shot in the head. So after a while, I said, he says, I think I feel the same way. He says, if you go, you take me with you.
Now, looking back, Benjamin says waiting for the attack to come was the hardest part.
Well, you're real anticipation. You're waiting on them. You know you're going to get into it. See, we had been in combat up through France, several places. That wasn't the first one, but we knew there was going to be a big battle.
76 years after the end of the war and 100 years of life, he says the key to making it that far is keeping yourself busy, something his family has always done.
I never was one for drinking or smoking or anything like that. I worked hard all my life. My dad worked hard. My dad lived to be 93, my mom 97, and they never had nothing but hard work. So, and that's why I love to work now.
With a true American hero in Clarksburg, I'm Ian Roth, 5 News. What control should lawmakers have over state education? That's the question at the heart of Amendment 4. It would give the legislature greater oversight of the State Department of Education's rules and policies, giving lawmakers the power to review, approve, amend, or reject educational policies.
Amendment 4 is a power grab by the legislature.
Many educators, like West Virginia Education Association President Dale Lee, have come out strongly against the amendment.
It wants to take over and control public education, and instead of allowing it to be in the hands of the experts.
Its supporters in the legislature say it's not about power, it's about cohesiveness. Wyoming County Senator Charles Trump is one of the amendment's most outspoken supporters. He argues departments like the Division of Highways or the DHHR need approval from the legislature before they make big changes. But the Board of Education isn't subject to that rule. Amendment 4 would change that, giving lawmakers the last say in what does or doesn't happen in your school district.
What it will provide, if it's ratified, is consistency with the rest of the rulemaking process as it exists in West Virginia.
Trump argues the people on the Board of Education, while appointed, are not elected. He questions why they should have control instead of elected lawmakers like legislators.
The rules under which we all have to live as citizens should be imposed only by people who are accountable to the public at the ballot box.
But those who oppose Amendment 4 say there's a reason why elected officials don't have much power over the school system.
They would try to dictate what we can and cannot teach in the classroom, and no one knows what to do better than the classroom educator.
Senator Trump says what happens in school shouldn't be left up to the educator. He claims Amendment 4 will make the process more cohesive.
The rulemaking and policymaking process in education will become much more of a collaborative effort between the State Board of Education and the legislature.
We asked, if education policies come and go as frequently as lawmakers, what safeguards are in place to prevent policy whiplash for students? For example, 2 years from now, a new set of lawmakers could change policies. And 2 years from then, the same thing could happen again. Trump says the ability for frequent change is good.
Ultimately, that's the point, isn't it? They don't have that opportunity with rules or policies that are promulgated now by the State Board of Education. They're stuck with it.
But President Lee says that's not fair for the teachers and students who could be subject to changes year after year.
No, it would politicize the school system, and it's all, in my opinion, it's all in an attempt to destroy public education.
Politicization of the school system is a hot-button issue in American politics. School board meetings across the country have been a hotbed of calls to stop the teaching of things like gender and sexuality and critical race theory.
We don't teach critical race theory in West Virginia. Our teachers teach West Virginia standards devised by West Virginia educators. What we teach is truth and teach kids to become critical thinkers.
For me, it's not about the hot button culture war issues as much as it is. It's like, how are we going to get that math, science, English, those basic skills? How are we going to get the children's proficiency and achievement in those things ramped up?
I'm Ian Roth, keeping you connected.
My nephew, Tyler, approached me about getting into the axe throwing business, and I thought, well, you know, I've done it and it's a blast, and I thought, man, let's give this thing a try, and we just got rolling from there.
That's Billy Reed, owner of Hillbilly Hatchets in Bridgeport, talking about how he got his axe throwing, fun-loving business off the ground. But he says he wants it to be more than just that.
We didn't want to just have a place to come throw axes. We wanted to create an environment and something really cool where people would want to come out, hang out, and throw an axe, eat some great pizza.
Naturally, I wanted to get in on the action, but admittedly, my first try was, well... Luckily, Billy and his staff are all experts and will gladly help you find your throw. And before long, I was having a great time.
You're starting to get the hang of it now.
Good win. Right away.
Nah, you got it.
And besides crushing me in axe-tack-toe, Billy said he's really proud of the roots of his new hangout spot.
A good friend of mine was tearing down a barn on his farm, and we got a lot of the old barn wood that's from the 1800s from him, and we utilized a lot of that, and we're real proud of how everything looks in here.
As for how his first few days being open have been,
it's been overwhelming. It's the community support has been just unbelievable. Response has been really good.
And if you're not in the Bridgeport area, Hillbilly Hatchets might be coming to a town near you down the road.
That would be pretty exciting. We've talked about a few different locations, and hopefully we get to that point.
Hey, it doesn't matter to me. I'll be there either way. Reporting from Hillbilly Hatchets in Bridgeport, I'm Ian Roth, 5 News.
Good evening, I'm Ian Roth. They said, quote, "We know some of the decisions the university administration is making are not popular and have real costs associated with them. However, we also understand that the university needs to make some serious changes," end quote. The legislature has certainly done their part in helping WVU this year. Just in 2022, lawmakers allocated $116 million for the university, $55 million for WVU Med, $50 million for the Cancer Institute, and $210 million for maintenance. Now, as we've already reported, hundreds of students and staff hang in the balance as the university weighs which programs to cut. Now to more developing details on the lawsuit against Governor Jim Justice and his public schedule. The Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee is starting to put some pressure on the state's top man. The committee has put up 2 new billboards near the Greenbrier Resort and the Kanawha County Courthouse, urging onlookers to visit their website. This is just the latest in a months-long effort to try and get Justice to hand over his schedule after allegations were made that he was largely absent from his job. In a release sent to us this afternoon, they said the governor won't be able to hide from the questions about that schedule or his, quote, "shady finances." That referring to the number of fines he allegedly owes on his mining operations. The statement also mentioned attacks from his GOP opponent, Representative Alex Mooney, who has also been calling out Justice regularly in ads across the state. So far, there has been no response from Justice. One of West Virginia's top exports, natural gas, saw another big year for production in 2022. Between the major companies in the state, more than 2.8 trillion cubic feet was produced last year. It's the most in 5 years, dating back to 2018, and continues an upward trend. This year was a roughly 6% increase for Mountain State gas companies. Meanwhile, oil experts in West Virginia are headed in the other direction. Only a little more than 15 million barrels of oil were produced in 2022. That's around 2.5 million less than 2021 and more than 4 million less than when production peaked in 2020. Nevertheless, both the oil and gas industries remain multi-billion-dollar industries here in Appalachia. More than 100 firearms dealers have lost their licenses over gun law violations this year. The number of license revocations is up by 50%, even though the laws haven't changed much. What's happening is under the Biden administration, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is escalating enforcement of existing rules. Regulators used to issue warnings instead of revoking licenses in most cases. Part of that is because gun dealers are sources of information on suspicious gun buyers. Now those dealers are saying they may stop helping authorities as a way to fight back against the crackdown. Well, buying a home in the U.S. just keeps getting harder. Mortgage rates are skyrocketing, home prices remain at near record heights, and supply is low. Ivan Rodriguez explains what's behind this housing affordability crisis. Ivan.
Mortgage rates surged this week to